Who killed Iroh's son, Lu Ten? Lu Ten, the first and only son of Iroh, was tragically killed in battle during the 600-day siege of Ba Sing Se. General Iroh was completely devastated at the loss of his son and was forever changed. He became a different man, a better man, a man who would never fail to help others the way he failed his son that fateful day. But just how did Lu Ten die, and who killed him? Okay, let's examine all the details surrounding Lu Ten's death. We know that Iroh was the general in charge of the siege, and thus Lu Ten was likely pretty high in terms of rank also. This would imply that he wouldn't be close to the front lines though, so to that I propose two theories. Either Lu Ten was actually of lower rank due to humility, or he chose to fight close to the front lines for the glory and to make Iroh proud. Either way, he was on the front lines of the battlefield, directly in harm's way. In Iroh's case, he does mention that he failed to help Lu Ten on that day, but what exactly does he mean by that? Well, in the episode Zuko Alone, during Zuko's flashbacks, we see that Iroh was not exactly the kind and gentle old man we came to know later in the show. He's still enjoying his tea and making light of the world, but there's a darker spirit to his character. More evidence to back this up comes from the canon book, Legacy of the Fire Nation. In this book, Iroh mentions that in his younger years, he was fiercely competitive with his younger brother, Ozai, and we all know that guy is evil to the core. Iroh was once more similar to him, if not a bit less vile. My headcanon is that Iroh managed to break through the outer wall of Ba Sing Se with his army, and Lu Ten was a major factor in that small victory. Iroh sensed that reinforcements would soon arrive, and that the fighting would get much more intense, and he asked Lu Ten to fall back. Lu Ten refused since he didn't want to leave his troops behind and he didn't believe in royal privilege. Also, he was likely enamored by his father's dreams of conquering Ba Sing Se and wanted to make him proud despite the immense risk. Iroh had to retreat from the front lines to fulfill his responsibilities without Lu Ten, and not long after, Lu Ten and his men were defeated in lethal fashion. I believe that Lu Ten met his end at the hands of one of the Council of Five, Ba Sing Se's top generals. But which one? Well, we know that it couldn't have been General Sung. General Sung is the man Team Avatar met in the drill episode. There, we learned two things. One, General Sung was unable to stop Iroh from breaking into the outer wall. Also, in Zuko's flashback, we learned that General Sung surrendered. And two, General Sung is kind of incompetent. If Team Avatar hadn't showed up, Ba Sing Se may have fallen right there. It's safe to say that General Sung was not Lu Ten's killer. That leaves us with the other four. Of these four, none is particularly outstanding outside of the leader, General Hao. General Hao is the highest ranking and most competent of the five generals. He is the general who shares the gang's stolen mail from the Dai Li, and the guy put in charge of planning the invasion. I believe General Hao was the most likely person to have killed Lu Ten. I believe that the full story of what happened to Lu Ten is that he and his men managed to break through the outer wall and force General Sung to surrender. Lu Ten and Iroh met up one last time. Iroh collected the knife from General Sung and retired back to his leadership position. Lu Ten refused to go with Iroh and kept pushing on soon after with his men, and was directly targeted along with his squad by General Hao, who took over command in General Sung's absence. As for what General Hao did, I imagine that him and his men simply caused a massive avalanche out of the debris the Fire Army created and crushed them all to death with it. Iroh heard the news and called a tactical retreat, abandoning the walled city in tears. To his great dismay, Lu Ten and his squad were forgotten to history, their achievements attributed directly to the Dragon of the West. If you liked this video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to help inspire me to make more Avatar content. If you wish to speak to or support me more directly, I have several social media links on my channel, including a Patreon for $1 only. Thank you for watching. Dreaded Patrick, out.